Hi, my name's Phil and welcome to LabourVision, where we discuss Labour policies. Should also be the last time I have to work with stated policies without the Labour manifesto in my hot little hands. But there have been some policies discussed in the last few days as we get ready for the launch next Thursday. Labour have been discussing antisocial behaviour, which is a classic of general elections. Of more interest will be the 80 new rape courts to tackle the backlog. I wonder if they're just going to take over the provision Rishi Sunak set aside for dealing with Rwanda plan legal challenges, given that those won't be needed now. This is a policy that will be a core part of their promise to halve violence against women, but much of what's being discussed at the moment was already known about. What has come as a genuine surprise to me was an announcement on House of Lords reform. Now, just to explain where we are with Labour's view of the House of Lords, Keir Starmer wants it replaced with an elected chamber. He commissioned Gordon Brown to prepare a paper on it, how it can be achieved. A paper that ended up going a little bit beyond its remit, but it was a sign that Keir Starmer really wanted to throw his weight behind this policy. There's been a huge amount of resistance from within the wider party, not least of which the Labour peers in the House of Lords. And so, although Starmer still has the aim of replacing the House of Lords, it is still Labour policy. It's not going to, well, there's no definite timetable on it, as far as I know. It's certainly not going to be in the next Parliament. But there were still to be reforms in the next Parliament. But up until now, all I'd heard was no more hereditary peers being appointed. They wouldn't, I don't think, kick out the existing ones, but no new ones would be appointed. That seemed to be it. Not great, not really laying the groundwork for more severe reforms in the following Parliament either. Then an article in the Times this weekend, an additional feature emerged. The article states that it is, of course, still policy to abolish the House of Lords, although I prefer the term replace, because it's not abolition would be like, it's just going in, that's it. But it's like, no, we still want a revising chamber, just an elected one. But a new reform for the first Parliament, an age limit. It would appear that Labour are going to allow peers to serve only until they're 80 years old. And now there are likely to be hundreds of members who are already over the limit. The latest data is from 2020. That's the best I could find. It showed at the time 12 members over the age of 90, 142 over 80 and 297 over the age of 70. Some will have passed away, such as the much missed Betty Boothroyd. But with the passage of 4 more years, this would still likely mean hundreds right now could well be over 80 years of age. Now, does this mean that the House of Lords suddenly finds itself bereft of hundreds of peers pretty much straight away? No, and not just because it would take time to implement this and we don't know when they're going to implement it. Probably not early in the Parliament, if I'm honest. It's probably going to be later on. Because what the policy is going to do, it doesn't remove members straight away, but at the end of the following Parliament. So I'm going to need to see the precise wording, but the way the policy works according to the report is as follows. So peers will not automatically retire when they hit their 80th birthday. Instead, what happens is once they reach 80, they will then retire at the end of that Parliament, which makes sense because you don't want to be disrupting the membership during the passage of important legislation. Can you imagine it? You've got someone who's making a really important contribution to a debate and someone else stands up. It says, "Oh, my noble lord, I'm afraid you've just turned 80. You need to get out of here." So no, you turn 80 and then at the end of that Parliament, you will just automatically retire. So we'll be seeing at the end of each Parliament in future, MPs and peers standing down. It will mean the loss of some peers who have earned cross-party respect, such as Michael Heseltine. But, you know, you're in favour of complete removal of the House in its current form. You're obviously going to have that at some point anyway. It will also be a show of real intent. Abolishing hereditary peers, Labour would have got round to doing that anyway in the last government. But age limits, that's not tinkering. That will also serve a couple of quite practical purposes potentially as well, even though Labour will have to win a second term in order to benefit, because remember, none of this takes effect next Parliament, but the one after. The first is that peers are often pushed by the government wanting to pass legislation either quickly or under controversial circumstances to debate and vote late into the night. This has the inevitable consequence, whether deliberate or not, of taking out quite a lot of the older members who will simply not have the stamina for a late night. An age limit reduces the number of peers who may be unable to play their role due to simple physical fitness. Second, it leaves room for the appointment of new peers without bloating the chamber still further, although if the plan is to abolish it in the following Parliament, which I don't know, but if it is, any new peers elevated after this policy starts to take practical effect will only be doing so for a few years. But, you know, that will help Starmer elevate those who are happy to push this policy in the first place. But there we are, something I did not know about, just a few days before the launch of the actual manifesto. If you've enjoyed the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel and click the like button, and do let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.